Hello everybody, it's Jenn, Scrapbena Creations. I'm so excited. I have a sneak peek for you for the Flavor of the Month December card kit. So here are a couple of the little critter images in the December kit. I'm using my Spectrum Noir markers to color up the foxes, the little mama or daddy and baby fox. This is my favorite color combination for coloring foxes. So I'm using TN7 as the darkest, TN6, and then OR1 for the lightest. So you saw there, I just used my Memento Tuxedo black marker to draw in the little tips of the tails so I could have them have some white tips. I then laid the lightest color, the OR1, down just to kind of get the paper saturated so that I could get a better blend. Then I went in with the darkest marker, the TN7, and the TN6 was next. Now I'm just doing a little bit of tip to tip here. This just helps blend those two colors together. And then I will go back over the image with the OR1. So I'll work on this little fox first, and I'll do the face next, and then I'll skip the coloring for the baby fox as I colored it the exact same way, and then I'll show you how I did the white patches on the fox. So again, I'm just going to lay down the OR1. I find sometimes that this is really helpful not only to saturate the paper, but also just to outline where I actually want to color so I don't make any mistakes. I'm just going to use the TN7 on the face very sparingly. I'm going to have the nose the darkest, and then bring in that TN6 to blend it and finish off with the OR1. And I love the way this looks. These colors are my favorite. I have to figure out a good color combination in Copics for foxes. Maybe that's something I'll work on soon. So for the white patches, I'm using W3, W1, and W00, and then I'll blend out some of the spots with the colorless blender. Fairly simple. I absolutely love this kit. The kit will go live on Saturday, December 29th at midnight Eastern Standard Time. So if you're up late on Friday night, you can catch the blog hop with all of the design team working on the kit, as well as some guest designers. So this kit I think is going to sell out really fast. These are just a couple of the adorable winter critters that are in this set. I don't want to give away too much. I'm using some of the designer paper that comes in one of the collections. I was really inspired by this paper. I absolutely love it. I wanted to have the foxes on a circle as the focal point, but I wanted it to match the same consistency and color as the panel that I'm using. So I just used the second sheet of designer cardstock that comes in the kit and cut out my circle from the back. So if you see it turned over, it's the designer paper on the front. So I'm using the sentiment "Have a Snuggly Day," and I'm just trying to get this curled a little bit so it goes around the top of the circle. I'm moving the paper because I find that the easiest to try to line it up and get it exactly where I want it. I'm going to use some Night of Navy, which is a navy blue ink from Stampin' Up. I thought it went really well with the blue in the designer paper. So I'm going to stamp that onto my circle panel here. I don't get it perfect, but it's fine. I'm going to do that a couple times just to make sure I have a nice clean, crisp image. I'm going to wipe that up with my stamp chamois, and then I'm going to move on to putting the card together. So when I first started doing this card, I was just going to use the one set of mountains. You'll see here as I get closer to the end of the card that I actually change my mind. I wish I had figured this out before I had adhered the card totally, but sometimes you just don't see things until the whole card is complete. I'm adding the foxes on some 3M foam tape just to give them some dimension. I'm just cutting away a piece of the foam tape that you can see. I'm going to snip off the one side of the mountains here, and that was kind of the hardest part of adding mountains at the end once I already had this all adhered. So I'm using some of the light blue cardstock that comes in the kit. And then I'm going to pop that up on some foam tape, and I'm just adhering that with my ATG adhesive. You could use a wide double-sided tape as well, but this was just sitting on my desk, so that's what I used. So I'm going to place that directly on the card panel. I'm just trying to arrange it so you can see a lot of the gold stars in the paper. I am just bringing in my warm gray 3 marker here to add some shadows to the bottom of the images. And then I'm going to just blend that out with my colorless blender. So I'm going to adhere the panel onto my card base. And once I get that down, I'll kind of take a look at it, and I feel like that right-hand side is just too empty. I mean, it looks cute and you could definitely leave it here. But I decided to take some of this Galaxy Gold. This is a Brilliance Dewdrop ink. And I'm using a little star stamp that comes in one of the stamp sets this month. And I'm just adding those to bring in some more of the gold, especially onto that little circle focal panel. And here's where I decide that I want to add some more of the mountains. So I'm carefully pulling up the foxes. I can't believe how strong that 3M foam adhesive is. So I'm going to tuck these behind. And I really like how that just completes that panel a little bit more. So I'm going to adhere that down with some of my liquid glue. And then I'm going to trim, once I get this down, I'm going to trim that other side of the mountain so that it's similar to the one on the left-hand side. That was a bit tricky just because it had adhered a little to that blue circle panel. And I kind of held my breath as I was doing this because I wasn't really sure how I was going to get it to match the circle, but it worked out fine. And there's the card complete. So stay tuned later this week for the unveiling. I'll have an unboxing and I'll have some more cards for you using the December Flavor of the Month kit. Happy Christmas Eve, everyone. Have a great day and I'll see you soon. Bye.